Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name's Jack, and today we are building every single LEGO Mighty Micro set from 2017. That is 6 brand new sets, 3 from DC, 3 from Marvel, and just like the last episode, I'm a big Batman fan, so let's start off with this guy. This set is Batman vs. Killer Moth, ages 5 to 12 recommendation with 83 pieces. It sells for $10, just like all the Mighty Micro sets, and this is our second version of a Batman Mighty Micro set. So Batman is the first minifig we're taking a look at, and you can see that the detailing is actually based on the Batman from the 1960s Batcave. His suit is a little bit lighter, he's got dark blue highlights, and interestingly enough, we've got a nice little detail on his back that's a little bit hidden. That's a tiny little moth, but I'll get to that in just a second. Here is his vehicle. This is not very loosely based off of the 1960s Bat helicopter, or Batcopter, and generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of the overall build here. The round windshield doesn't actually close all the way where he sits down. You can fold his cape behind him, but it'll get all crinkled. And by the way, this is the micro build compared to what we got from the actual set. Pretty different. But anyways, let's move on to Killer Moth. His detailing is, of course, basic like all of the minifigs here. He's got the pretty good expression, I like it a lot, and a lot of very colorful accessories. He's got the same wing pieces that we saw before, but I think his most fun and unique accessory is the helmet on his head. Those are actually kind of squishy antenna on the top. That's pretty fun. Here is his build though. Really nice build. I like this a lot better than the copter. You can see that it actually kind of looks more like a fly than it does a moth. There's a stinger in the back, so maybe even a bee, but those trans orange pieces in the front have a very subtle honeycomb shape to make up the detailing on the eye, which is a great touch, and that green glass piece actually works super well to make up the mouth. So here are my final thoughts. I think I like Killer Moth more than Batman in this case. I do like the Batman minifigure quite a lot, but the Moth minifigure is pretty good, and his vehicle is definitely a lot cooler. Alright, so we're going to be switching back between DC sets and Marvel sets, so now let's do this guy. And by this guy, I mean Iron Man versus Thanos. It's 94 pieces, and it is set number 76072. Awesome builds for those vehicles. So here is a pretty awesome minifig. We've got Iron Man. Not only is he the cool kind of funny Mighty Micros version, but that is a brand new mold for the helmet. I like the expression on the face, and this guy's pretty involved because we also get a separate hairpiece that shows the Tony Stark face. He carries a wrench here, and of course, being Iron Man, you can just put on his jet pieces, and because he's small, it actually kind of makes him look like makes his jet pieces look like they're shooting a bit further. This is what he looks like if he had long legs. This is the one minifig that I think would look so good if he had longer legs. But anyways, this is his vehicle, Veronica. I'm gonna guess this is like Veronica from Age of Ultron. The design isn't exactly the same, but those 4 jets in the back really make me think that it might be. It's a pretty unique and sort of different looking vehicle compared to a lot of the other Mighty Micros ones, but that is nothing compared to Thanos. Well, here's the minifig first. All the detailing here is pretty spot on. I can appreciate the armor that goes on the shoulders as well as that bigger golden fist. That's really fitting for this guy. But his vehicle is by far my favorite one out of any of the Mighty Micro sets. It is quite literally the Infinity Gauntlet. There's a ton of great gold pieces that are used. I especially like all of those gold cheese wedge pieces, but if you take a look at the back, those are the new curved tile pieces. I did not know that they would be included in this set. The pictures don't ever show show that, and that's really nice. It's great that we also get them in gold, a very unique color, especially for sort of a system piece that's going to probably get put into a lot of the more basic ones later down the line. The one thing I do say is a problem with this, the only problem really, is that there are not 6 Infinity Stones on the gauntlet, just 5. I think he's missing the red one for power, but anyways, you can move the fingers around into any position you like because it is a fist after all, and that makes this build way more fun. So I haven't built the rest of the sets yet, but I think this one is definitely going to be my favorite. I think both of the vehicle builds are awesome. The Iron Man minifig in particular is super cool, and I mean, we just get so many awesome gold pieces in general. I feel like people might be buying several of these sets just for the parts. Heck, maybe even buying 2 to start off, maybe a larger golden robot with those 2 Thanos fists. I don't know, it's a really cool set. But that doesn't mean there aren't going to be other good Mighty Micro sets. This is Wonder Woman versus Doomsday, 85 pieces, set number 76070. I have a feeling most people are going to be really curious about the invisible jet. Here is Mighty Micro Wonder Woman. She's got an excellent sort of odd, goofy looking expression on her face. The hairpiece isn't anything new, neither are her accessories, though I do like that dark tan inverted dish on the front of her shield. That looks nice. And here is her invisible jet. Now, of course, it can't be entirely invisible, obviously. They had to put some light bluish gray pieces in there as well as some white, but all the external stuff, most of it anyways, is all transparent. You can't see as well from here, but I think a few of the bricks, the 1x1 modified ones with studs on the sides, those are transparent, which might be new. If they're not new, they're extremely uncommon, so that's kind of nice. Though I gotta say, there isn't anything particularly special about the design other than the fact that a lot of pieces here are transparent. Her rival in this set is Doomsday, and this is the first time we've gotten him in any form in LEGO. He's the only character actually out of all the releases like this. The detailing for him is pretty good. I like the red outlining around his eyes, but as you can see, this is a micro version of him, and instead of giving him a really big club, they actually just recolored a carrot piece to be brown. That I think is a really awesome touch. And when we take a look at his vehicle, I think the main things that really just stand out are, of course, the flames that shoot out the back. You can see they used some recolored tooth pieces on the sides to kind of give it a nice, fun, jagged look. And there's even a long bone that hangs off the back where he could use it as another weapon or accessory. It just kind of rests there. So final thoughts are that I like the invisible jet, or at least some of the parts that come in it. It looks a little bit wonky, and I have a feeling people might not like this set just as much, or at least the kids, because this is by far the least colorful. I don't know if that's actually a huge factor, but I did just notice that. But I also noticed this X-Men Mighty Micro set. This is Wolverine versus Magneto. Looks like a mini Blackbird build and a magnet car. Kind of cool. So Wolverine is looking pretty classic. He's got that really big, thick red belt that goes along the bottom, but it looks very close to pretty much what it looks like in the comic books, actually. His face is very, well, it's very something. It's very animated, and this is his build. It's actually the Blackbird. There's some very clever detailing with those wing pieces that curve in towards the body. It makes it look like that long neck of the Blackbird is just kind of almost forced perspective. I'm happy to say that that is a printed piece right on the front, and those fin pieces that make up the wings in the back work really well. The bottom of the build is a little bit bulky, but the top I like a lot. So our villain, and an appropriate villain for Wolverine, is Magneto. He's very colorful, as always. Decent enough printing that makes up the body, and he's the only Mighty Micros figure that actually has two different expressions. I like the blacked out face, I think that was a good touch, but I really appreciate that they also just gave him a Magneto face as well. Now, his build for a vehicle is kind of just one big punchline. It's very clever, or at least it looks pretty good. It's a magnet. It wraps around the backside, and if you lift up the cape, you can kind of see it a little bit better. And I don't know, I like the blue thrusters in the back, and altogether I think this was a pretty good decision on LEGO's part to make a magnet car. Final thoughts are that I like the set. I actually like both the minifigs and both the vehicle builds. It probably stands as one of my favorite Mighty Micros, though I cannot not say that why was it Magneto and Wolverine in the first place? There's so many X-Men minifigs, and these are the most repeated of them. I don't know why they decided to make them the doubly most repeated minifigs. I totally could have gone for Xavier versus Mystique. That would have been awesome. Anyways, let's move on. So this next one is Superman versus Bizarro. Bizarro Superman. It's 93 pieces, set number 76068, and let's open it. So here's the minifig. By far my favorite feature about him is the expression on his face. Very useful for other figs if you wanted to switch it around. He is holding Bizarro Kryptonite, because it doesn't hurt him, but it does hurt Bizarro Superman. There isn't a whole lot about his vehicle that I actually like a lot. The print on the front is alright. It looks pretty bad from the back, and I guess I just don't understand those fists in the front. This might be based on some sort of Superman vehicle that I just don't know about, but I think they made a very good decision by pairing up Superman with Bizarro Superman. Before, the only way you could get this guy was from a Comic-Con exclusive. He's crazy expensive, and with just switching out some blue legs, you can have a pretty good version of Bizarro Superman, which is awesome. That expression is just perfect fitting, actually, just for Bizarro Superman in general, and I thought it was a good idea that they switched around the vehicles to the exact opposite. It makes sense that he would be flying the jet completely backwards. So final thoughts are that the minifigs definitely are the strong points of the build. If you're a fan of Superman, this is probably a very good set to get because you can switch out the leg pieces very easily. And it gets points for being self-aware with the kryptonite and the backwards ships and stuff like that. Now we're finishing off the last Mighty Micro set for 2017 with the SpiderMan versus Scorpion. It is set number 76071 and it has 79 pieces, the smallest set. So this is the Mighty Micros Spider-Man minifig. This is the second version of one, actually. The only difference is the expression on his face. His eye, stink eye, is just a little bit different. These are the two together, and the only other difference is that he comes with a spider now instead of a camera. Here is Spider-Man in his vehicle. I gotta say, doesn't really do it for me. It's a super basic design. He's got some larger exhausts in the back, and I suppose I like that the wheels are yellow on the inside, but I think the better vehicle and the better minifig is definitely Scorpion. Here is Scorpion. He's got the exact same piece on his back that makes up the scorpion tail, just like the bigger version of the minifig, and the print for his body and face are actually pretty good. He comes with a scorpion accessory, and here he is inside his vehicle, and this is kind of a nice thing about it. It looks like a scorpion, if you can't tell, with the pinchers and the green reindeer pieces on the front for claws, but the actual body of Scorpion, the Mighty Micro minifigure, makes up the tail of what is the tail on the Scorpion vehicle. vehicle, if that makes any sense. It's kind of a fun little design. It doesn't look very good when you take Scorpion out. But anyways, here are the two together, and there's kind of a reason I put these guys at the very end of the episode. It's kind of my least favorite set. They didn't need to redo Spider-Man, and if they did, they could have done Spider-Woman, they could have done Miles Morales Spider-Man. I don't know. They definitely could have changed things up, and neither of the vehicles really do it for me, especially Spider-Man's vehicle. So with that, we are at the end of the episode. Here are all of the minifigures together. I gotta say, Iron Man is my favorite minifig, and I actually like that little Wonder Woman as well. When it comes to vehicles, I think Thanos pulls ahead of the rest with shining colors, quite literally. And generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with this round of Mighty Micros. There was a couple of repeats that I thought were somewhat unnecessary, but I for one will be glad if they have a third or even fourth season for this theme. Alright, that is it for this episode, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching. I've left links in the description below if you want to buy any of these sets. And if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.